Hello everybody, today I can sketch polynomial graphs by its degree and sign, and also I can write end behavior by checking which way the graph is pointing. As I look to the left and the right, I'm going to explain to you what these things mean. We're going to start by shape. There are 4 shapes that you are responsible for knowing. Let me just make this a little bit smaller so it can fit on one screen. So a little bit smaller. So I'm going to call these here U-shapes because they're U-shapes. I'm going to call these chair-shaped because they look like a chair, like you can sit on them. U-shaped has an even degree. The degree is the highest exponent that you see. So if the degree is even, it's going to be U-shaped. And if the degree is odd, it's going to be chair-shaped. As far as opening up or down, as I go to the right, if it has a positive leading coefficient, it's going to open up to the right. And if it has a negative leading coefficient, it's going to open down. Now, let's start with that. So, number 1, it has an odd degree. So since it's odd, it's going to be chair-shaped. And it's got a positive leading coefficient. So since it's got a positive leading coefficient, it's going to open up. So it's going to look like that. Chair-shaped, opening up to the right. Number 2, it's got an even degree. So since it's got an even degree, it's going to be U-shaped. Its leading coefficient is positive, so it's going to open up. So it's going to be U-shaped, opening up. It's going to look like that. Number 3 has an odd degree. Therefore, it's going to be chair-shaped. It's got a negative leading coefficient, so it's going to open down. So chair-shaped, opening down, it's going to look like that. And number 4, it's got an even degree, so it's U-shaped. And it's got a negative leading coefficient, so it's going to open down. U-shaped, opening down, it's going to look like that. So that's the first piece of this, is drawing the picture, knowing what it's going to look like. Now understand, different things can happen in the middle, like it might be like that, it might be like this. All that we know, though, is at the ends, it's going to open down in both directions. Now, writing the end behavior. This is easy if you know how to do it. And it's kind of right here. As x approaches negative infinity, x is left and right. So that means as I look to the left. As x approaches negative infinity, it means I'm going to the left. As x approaches positive infinity, that means I'm going to the right. F of x is y. F of x goes up and down, so if f of x going to negative infinity means down, and f of x to positive infinity means up. So if I look back at these right here, as x approaches negative infinity, that means as I look to the left, where's the graph going? Up. Positive infinity is up. As x approaches positive infinity, that means as I go to the right, the graph is pointing up. Positive infinity. As x approaches negative infinity, that means left, the graph is pointing down. That's negative infinity. As x approaches positive infinity, that means as I look to the right, the graph is pointing down. That's negative infinity. So let's just take a look at the examples now. So it always starts the same way. Like, I'm going to give this to you. I'm not going to make you write this part. You just have to fill it in. And it's going to, for polynomial graphs, it's going to always be either positive infinity or negative infinity. When we do exponential and logarithmic later on, you might see some other things. So as x approaches negative infinity, that means as I look to the left, as I go to the left, the graph is going down. So I put negative infinity for down. As x approaches positive infinity, that means as I look to the right, the graph is pointing up. Up is positive infinity. Number 2, as x approaches negative infinity, that means as I look to the left, the graph is pointing up. Up is positive infinity. As x approaches positive infinity, that means as I look to the right, the graph is going up. That's positive infinity. U-shape will always be the same, whether it's both positive infinity or both negative infinity. Number 3, as x approaches negative infinity, that means as I look to the left, the graph is going up. That's positive infinity. As I look to the right, that's x approaches positive infinity, the graph is pointing down. That's negative infinity. And number 4, as x approaches negative infinity, that means as I look to the left, the graph is pointing down. And as x approaches positive infinity, as I look to the right, the graph is also pointing down. Down is negative infinity. So, to sum up, end behavior, it's just knowing what it means. X approaches negative infinity means as I look to the left, where's the graph pointing? If it's down, we write negative infinity. If it's up, we write positive infinity. And then as far as the shape goes, if it is U-shaped, if it's an even degree, it's U-shaped. If it's an odd degree, it's chair-shaped. And if it's a positive leading coefficient, it opens up. And if it's a negative leading coefficient, it opens down. That's it. Practice it a bit, and then move on. Goodbye.